What's up, world? It's Katrina
and Marlena, and this is Excess Baggage,
the podcast where two friends in their 30s unpack all of life's baggage. This episode, we will be unpacking the silent treatment.
Okay, let's start the show.
Hey, girl. Hey.
What up, what up, what up?
How you doing? What's your baggage today?
How am I doing? Sometimes these things are loaded questions. I am hanging on by a thread, man. I feel like this last week or so has been a little trying in my personal life. Stuff that I'm just, will not divulge on the air, but I have been going through some things and I'm just waiting for them to pass. So my baggage today is really just trying to get out of my head and hoping for the best.
Okay.
What about you? What's your baggage today?
Well, she washed but did not comb or condition her hair, so we'll see how that goes tomorrow. I'm faking it okay right now, but tomorrow is another day. And there's a whole undetangled nest that's happening in certain areas. But anyways.
Whoa. Well, it doesn't look like it. Well, at least it don't look like it on camera. I would tell you. But
well, thank you for that. Yes. No, she's faking it really well. But in the back over here, whole different story, but we won't tell people about that. So that is part of my baggage.
Wow.
Listen, we said we was gonna start recording on Thursdays, and we keep ending up back here. I don't get dressed on Thursdays. I go to my own therapy, and then I don't do nothing else.
Well, I don't know. I just always like Thursday. Actually, my favorite day of the week is Wednesday, actually, because I feel like, damn, okay, we're almost to the weekend. It's just like, it's right. It's the happy medium, because sometimes Thursdays can be a whole fucking mess. And then you get to Friday, you're like, oh, you're so exhausted on Friday. You don't even want to go out that Friday night because you're just exhausted from the hell of a Thursday that you just had. So yeah, Wednesday's my favorite day.
That was interesting rationale.
It is. And it's hump day. I mean, come on. Why would I? It's Wednesday. So I'm good. I'm good with it.
Okay. Well, I don't typically get dressed on Thursdays because I don't see clients on Thursdays. And so I be at my house big chilling.
Spin the cheese? No, that's big pimping. No, that's big pimping.
That's big pimping. And today that included washing, but not finishing the process of washing my hair, but whatever. My other baggage though is so I have a presentation tomorrow and my computer, the internet, technology, all of the above, it's just acting up. And I need it to act right. I need to get its life together and just act right because I might lose my mind.
You could play that City Girl song for your computer.
I don't think that's going to work.
Act up. You could get smacked up. Act up. Okay, fine. That probably won't work. But at least it would be maybe a moment, a fun moment within the hysteria of it all.
Yes, it would relieve the amount of anxiety and stress that is happening in my body because of this. Yeah, that could help in that way.
It's true.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm debating about going to my parents' house and doing the presentation from there just in case. But I also hate going other places to do things that I have to do.
Interesting.
So we'll see.
Well, I would go to my parents if they have more reliable internet, because your internet be acting up. If they have,
because I live in fucking Inglewood.
Yes, with all the planes, the
damn planes, and I don't know why these internet companies ain't figured this shit out yet. But also, my parents' internet, they live further just about a mile further from the airport than I do. Their internet is usually okay, but it's not necessarily always better. And we have the same company. So sometimes if mine is acting up, theirs is acting up too. So I'm going to have to call them. But it's also not just the internet.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, maybe they can send out a box or something. Don't they give people, like, when you have bad service?
Yeah. I did that not too long ago.
Oh.
Yes. It'd be having its days. But again, it's not just the internet because Zoom has just not worked for me today. I was supposed to have therapy on Zoom this morning and I couldn't. So technology is just not my friend right now. And I hope it chooses to do something different tomorrow.
I hope your presentation tomorrow goes, I hope it goes good.
Girl, me too. At this point, to some degree, there's a piece of me that's like, okay, we've been doing this for at least a year now. Like, y'all know what's up. And then there's a piece of me that's like, yeah, but it would be nice if it would act right, you know? So I don't know.
I feel that.
We will see. I'll probably call my mom after this and just make sure that they have space and availability for me to be over there tomorrow morning. And then I'll see how I feel.
That's real nice. You call your parents before you're going to show up. I don't.
Well, I don't always, but this is one of those situations where it's like, I'm not just showing up. Like, is it going to be quiet enough for me to do work over there? Because they've also been getting work done on the house here and there. And is your internet working okay? How's your technology over there? Because if I pop up over there thinking that I could just do this presentation and then it's a wreck over there too, it's useless. I might as well stay my ass at home.
True.
So that's why I'm calling. If I was just coming to hang out, I'd just pop up when I feel like it.
It's true. Well, today's topic is the silent treatment.
Yes. Yeah. Brought to you by niggas that need to get their shit together.
I'm done. We've all been victim of it. We've all either been victim of it or have also done it.
That part.
I have for sure given someone the silent treatment. My reason behind that, though, is because I probably was going to say something really bad.
Sure.
And a lot of times I need to process my feelings before I go back talking to you, because if I don't, this can go very left real fast. And so, but I also understand why, the silent treatment sucks because it's been done to me. And so I just wish there was some type of happy medium,
So I think, okay, we didn't think about this when we were planning the episode, but now I'm thinking like, how are we even defining the silent treatment?
Well, for me, it's just like, I'm just not talking to you, and when I feel like it, I'll talk to you again. And sometimes, if the person reaches out or something like that, that can shift, that can change based on, why they reached out.
Sure.
Because a lot of times I feel like I only really give out the silent treatment when I feel like I've been wrong. For me, I don't know. A lot of people don't necessarily use the silent treatment like that. There's some extreme kind of measures. It's just like a control thing.
Yeah.
It's a control thing, and they're trying to play mind games with you. So it can be, I think, just in the midst of a discourse, people will go their separate ways. And then once, they've had time to process their feelings, they come back and they talk. Well, I would hope they would talk it through, but sometimes
that ain't silent
treatment can
be the end.
Be the end of a situation, because one person didn't want to put down their sword, or so to speak. I don't know.
So I guess the question I was asking was like, does the silent treatment have a timeline? Because as I was hearing you say, like, sometimes you need time to process. I was kind of like, but is that the silent treatment if you just take a moment to process? But I guess it still is if you are intentionally not responding to someone.
Yes.
So if you're just not talking to them in that moment because you need space to sort yourself out, but they haven't reached out, then it wouldn't be the silent treatment. But if like they reach out, they've tried to say something and you just like flat out ignore them, then I guess that is the silent treatment.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
And both of those fucking suck. I don't care
Absolutely.
which version of either of those.
Absolutely.
They suck.
It doesn't feel good.
No, not at
It
all.
doesn't feel good. Yeah. No.
And I don't even think it feels good when you're the person issuing out. It doesn't feel good for me at least, most times. Sometimes it's like, okay, if it went like, no, I'm really not talking to you for a legit, not saying that it's not legit, but like a for real, like serious
Yeah.
problem, then that makes sense. But if I'm just not talking to you because I feel like, okay, you're acting funny or something is off, I feel like that's really me putting up a defense mechanism because I'm just like, okay, if they're not talking to me, then I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to call them. Why would I reach out to them? What would be the purpose of that? So I be the one to be the first to let down my guard. Why is it that I have to always be the bigger person?
Yeah. Whew, I've been in that situation several times. Just if you're not acting right, and I have to constantly be the person to open my mouth, share how I'm feeling, express things, try to work it out, and all of that, and you just start acting kind of funny. Relating back to what we were talking about last episode about grudges, like you're holding things in and just not reacting in the way that you normally would, like I'm definitely gonna just take a step back. Why would I continue to try to engage with you if you are not going to show up in a way that feels good to me? But it also doesn't feel good to me to stop engaging with you because that doesn't actually fix the problem.
Right. And I care about you and I love you or I like you or, I want you in my life.
Sure.
So it does not feel good for me to act like that. I'm only
right.
You're putting out the energy and I'm responding to it.
It's almost like I'm doing it out of need. Like I don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to shut this down.
Right.
Because if I try to talk to you, it doesn't work. If I try to have like an adult in interaction with you where like we're being reasonable with one another, that doesn't work either. So then what? Guess I just won't talk to you.
Exactly. I probably just won't talk to you. And then knowing me, I'll eventually cave. Not I hate to say that, like I'll eventually cave, but depending on the situation, I will for sure be like, okay, like you good? Like what's going, I don't like discourse. I don't like that, like hanging around in the background. To me, it's juvenile. It's pointless. If there's an issue that needs to be resolved, like I'm ready to get to that portion of it. And if you do need time to step away, then just say you need time to step away.
That part. You
can do that, but like completely just disappearing and then just almost being like, well, I don't like when it's a feeling of like, oh, you could have called me. It's like, but I have been calling you. We have been talking. This is a two-way street. So if days go by and you decide not to, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Like you said, what do you do with that?
Yeah. And it's like you said, I tell this to people all the time. It is my biggest pet peeve in the world. Use your fucking words. Like I say that, obviously not in that language. I say that to children. I say that to grown ass adults. It is I just don't understand. We have language. I understand that language doesn't always explain everything. It can be challenging to find, but also we have it. Utilize your language. Use your words. Say what's going on. Say what's on your mind. People cannot read your mind. People cannot, whatever narrative I am creating in my head about what's going on is not what's actually happening. And I won't know what's actually happening until you tell me.
Absolutely correct. And if you don't, like you said, I'm not a mind reader. I'm not. And I find it strange when people are having issues, but you can talk to me about anything else. everything else. We talk about everything but the issue. And for
Right.
me, that's even more weird because I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Like I'm glad that you ate ice cream today or whatever it is, I'm glad that that worked out for you or you had a good call today or whatever the case may be. But I'm still in the back of my mind, like, okay, so when are we going to talk about what we need to talk about? Because
Right.
I want to feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable right now. I
Right.
feel like it's very fake. And,
Mhm.
I just don't think it's fair and it's manipulative at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. When people give you the silent treatment and then come back around as if nothing happened and they never talk about what the issue was, that is one of the worst feelings to me in any kind of relationship, any kind of dynamic. Like, we just gonna act like nothing happened.
I was the queen of doing that though. I will
Really?
say I mean, not queen of doing it. Like, I don't think I was doing it. Like, it wasn't me, but I was participating in that a lot. I was a
Mhm.
participant. And when I started out dating, a lot of times because I just did not like conflict and I didn't want to fight, there was a lot of things that I just did not say.
Yeah.
And it would just be in my mood, my mood, my behavior is how I would be projecting how I was feeling, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't talk about it. And then I would welcome them back and I would just pretend like it didn't happen. And then, and that's not healthy because then later on, it's like you get so mad when things happen to you and you can't even describe the feelings that you're feeling anymore because it has bubbled up.
Right.
It's bubbled up completely.
Right. And on the other end, it is also uncomfortable. I feel really unsafe, like really emotionally unsafe in those circumstances because I know you were upset. Nigga, we not gonna act like you weren't. It was clear that something was wrong. And so the fact that you were just skipping over it and acting like nothing went on and you're just back to being friendly and everything's okay, that makes me feel incredibly unsafe. Like, how am I supposed to know that you're not going to do this again? How am I supposed to know that whatever action I perform or thing that I say is not going to upset you? Like, I don't know because you won't tell me what's going on. And that feels really unsafe. I think I've been on that end more, not even just in romantic relationships, but in friendships and with family members, especially like some as a kid, like growing up. But yeah, that's really hard.
It's super hard. And I don't know, you're right. Like, you don't feel safe, but also I don't trust you. I feel like I'm looking at
Exactly.
you very differently. And my responses to you, no matter who it is, will probably be, will grow less and less. It won't be as
Mm-hmm.
enthusiastic. It won't be as loving. It won't be as forgiving like
Yes.
before. And that is where I feel like that's one of the main reasons I feel that the silent treatment just definitely does not even work. I don't even think it works because either one person is reactive because they're trying to protect themselves during it,
Sure.
or one person is trying to get their point across without using their words, which really
Right.
solves nothing.
Nothing at all.
So
I agree that it doesn't work when the purpose is communication. When you are trying to communicate something to the other person that is related to how you feel or what have you, I agree that it doesn't work. But to your point earlier, there are some people who genuinely just do it for manipulative purposes. And in that case, I think it works great. It absolutely makes the other person feel whatever it is that you're trying to get them to feel. They feel like they can't trust themselves. They're unsure of how to operate. They don't know what's happening. But to your point earlier, I don't think it works if we're talking about, well, I think it does work if we're talking about somebody using it for manipulative purposes. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're giving someone the silent treatment, they are going to feel all the things that we just talked about. We're going to question ourselves. We're going to wonder what's going on. We're not going to feel like things are okay, or there's good, like we're going to have a lot of questions and confusion and wondering, and what do I say? How do I engage? When am I supposed to reach out? Should I not reach out? Like, what's going on? And I think a lot of that comes with doubting yourself, doubting what you've done, how you've experienced things, or how you've shown up, which, that then turns into a whole thing. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't work if you're trying to communicate that you are hurt or that you are upset or that something they did was wrong. But if you are just trying to be a manipulative person, then yeah, I think that's exactly what that does. It manipulates the other person.
It does. And I have to tell you, I always am, I'm really shocked when someone, like a friend of mine or someone, points out to me that I'm being manipulated. Because sometimes I just am like, okay, well, this person isn't in it. They're not experiencing this relationship. And so of course you get on the defense because you're just like, what? Like, no, I'm not being manipulated. Like, I'm telling you what is happening. But then it's just you trying to rationalize crazy to me. It's like some things are unforgivable. I don't know if silent treatment is one of them, but some things, you just may not recognize that it's happening to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the good thing about, I will say, I guess the good thing about silent treatment, at least you'll know. Like, okay, come on now, something's up. Like, you usually converse, so why wouldn't you all of a sudden there be lack of communication?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, so you will know that something's up. It's the challenge is then it's on you to figure it out. Or at least that's how it feels. Maybe it's not on you because maybe it's just like, fuck it. He ain't talking. She ain't talking. We ain't talking. Like,
oh Lord,
that's just what it is.
I mean, it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. Because I mean, honestly, what else are you supposed to do? They're not speaking to you. Are you supposed to continue to reach out? Are you supposed to keep trying? Are you supposed to convince them to talk to you? Like,
no. No.
Exactly.
I'm over here saying, like, while in theory you would want to reach out to the person, I just feel like your pride gets in the way. I mean, who would want to do that? What person?
Yes.
on either end?
Yes.
I'm sure that person would feel exactly the same way. Like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean you're not talking to me? For what?
Right.
So yeah, no, you just let it ride. And like we said before, it's like, if it can be either both people decided to go in their corners and just kind of like do some reflection and, get themselves together and come back and then work it out, or it can be the death of a situation.
Right. Right.
And how do you feel about that? Like, how are you supposed to feel if something, as in my mind, something that can be resolved, I don't know, but both people have to be on that same page, I guess, but.
Right. I mean, then that leads into the whole like ghosting situation. Like when we talk about ghosting is really just the silent treatment long term. Like silent treatment can technically end once it gets to the point of ghosting. It's like it never ended. You just continue to be silent. Yeah. And then, yeah, I just wish people would just use their words. That is literally my biggest pet peeve. Use your words. Say what you got to say. Say what you got to say. I want to say it makes everybody's life easier. The therapist in me would argue that it would be better for everyone involved, and it would be easier for everyone involved if everyone involved just used their words. Say what you got to say. Right. No matter how challenging it is.
It's true. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the communication. And if the communication is off, it's never gonna work. Yeah. It's just never gonna work. And I don't know. That's why this is my TED Talk. No, that's why I don't like, I really am. I think it's juvenile and it's pointless. It really is. And I can't stress that enough. I really can't. I feel like, and even when I do it, I don't feel good. It just all around just doesn't feel good. So,
yeah,
I guess the best thing is to, honestly, the only thing you can do is just see how it plays out,
Yep.
because it's out of your hands, especially if you've placed the ball back in that person's court.
Mm-hmm.
If you were just like, okay, if this is what we're doing, then let's do it. And that can last forever and that can last in, a month. I don't know, however,
Right.
how much time do you need is I guess a personal thing. But I think after a certain amount of time, it's just like, okay, it's dead. Like, because like what do you expect the other person to do? Just
Right. Did you expect me to be waiting around till you decided to say words?
yeah.
No.
They do though. A lot of times they do.
Right. But no.
But no, it's
But
not.
no.
It's not right.
So I guess that is one thing you can do, is to at least reach out and say, hey, I know we haven't talked. I was wondering what's up or what's going on. I'm available when you want to talk, or something to that effect. And that also depends on the situation. If this is somebody that you were really close to, have an intimate relationship with, even if it's just friends or family, not just romantic, but like, you don't have to do that with everybody. But if you feel called enough to reach out just to say like, hey, I'm noticing there's something going on, I would like to talk about it. Let me know when you're ready. I think that is maybe the best that you can do. And then at least it's in that person's court, like you said, and then it's up to them. And
Right.
however long they take, you just got to be able to sit with the discomfort until they show up or don't.
Right.
And then they always show up when you least expect it. They always come back around when you over here living
feeling
your best
good,
life.
right? And you're feeling good.
Healed.
Yes.
Gotten
It
through
does
it.
happen like that. It really does
Yes.
happen like that. And every time I'm like, And I have the conversation with myself, like, so what are you going to do, Marlena? What are you
Are you
going
gonna
to
answer
do?
this text message?
Right.
But that's a good point though. Like, okay, so when they come back around, especially depending on how long it took, you do not have to respond.
That's
You're not
true.
required to respond. You can absolutely be like, no, I'm good.
That's true.
And just leave it at that. You don't have to say shit.
I wish that I had more of that energy in me, and it's something that I feel that I can work on, because a lot of times, like, I don't want to say that I feel weak or anything like that because I respond or I answer the message. I think for me, it's like, I'm not going to deny that I don't want to talk to this person, unless it's a situation where you're just like, nah, I'm, like you said, I'm good.
Right.
That has happened before.
Yeah.
It may have taken me a long time to get there, but I got there and I could talk to the person all damn day, but like, I'm good on whatever it is. Like, there's no need to have the conversation anymore. We can have conversations about whatever, but I don't know if we necessarily need to tap back into that anymore because it
Right.
has been a long time. So,
Right.
while it will be nice to have a resolution, it's also just like, I would have to really see some type of, what am I trying to say? Like, I would have to see some serious behavioral changes, and it probably would take me some time to even trust that was real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone has a representative, I feel like, when they're like done something wrong or they're trying to get back in. And of course, they're going to go above and beyond. But it's like, okay, so no, what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing? And, if you come back, like, okay, you're going to have to come back. This is going to have to be a completely different relationship. That relationship is dead. So how are we going to build this new relationship and build the trust back? Because it's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be so freely open either to just let you back in.
Right.
So,
right.
But I've been convinced. I'm not going to say that I haven't been convinced because I have, and 9 times out of 10, it wasn't shit. So, meaning that there was no real change, that was just a front.
Yeah. I think for me, I won't say that I've always been the one to just be like, nah, I'm good. I ain't talking to you no more. I have definitely felt tempted or wanted to engage with that person again when the silent treatment is over. And a lot of it is because I just want to know, like, my curiosity gets the best of me and I be feeling some kind of way. And I just want to know. Like I want answers.
Exactly. That's true. No,
I
I've
want
definitely felt
information.
like that. I've definitely felt like that.
So like tell me what was it? Like say that to me. Say it out loud. I want to hear it. But
And
then
don't be shy about it either. Like really say it.
like say it.
Like it's okay.
Right.
Especially now that time has passed and my feelings are not so caught up in it. I probably can digest what you have to say a little better.
Differently. Yeah.
And differently. Yeah. I can go about it a whole another way and just be like, oh, okay, that's interesting that's how you felt.
Right.
You know, but let's clear some things up. That's definitely not what was happening.
Right.
If we just had the conversation that needed to be had, then that will be, you know, we probably could have resolved it and probably would have been better for it. But you chose different.
And that's the part that I be on a lot of the time where I'm just like, no, you chose this. So why do I owe you my time and energy now? Because now you want to talk? No, I'm good. I wanted to talk before you wasn't ready and you didn't communicate that you weren't ready and we didn't set a timeline for when we were going to talk. You don't get to come back around and try to have a conversation. So keep with your silent treatment. I'm good. Stay your ass over there. I'm good.
All good over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh, but that shit, you know, that shit does take time.
It does. It even takes time to not be someone who gives other people the silent treatment. Like, I have definitely done it, usually because my feelings got hurt or we were on the same merry-go-round. I done already said it once. I'm not going to keep saying it again. I don't know how to continue to communicate to you that what you're doing is not okay. So then I just shut up about it. And that's not always the healthiest way of dealing with it. But, you know, I think it takes time also to get to the point where you are able to communicate yourself in, I was going to say in a healthy way, but no, not even in a healthy way. Communicate yourself at all. Because sometimes you just got to yell and scream it out because that's all you have. But at least you said it.
You know, I can say that there's only been a handful of times where I have come outside of myself and really like a yelling type situation. That has only happened a couple of times. And I feel like it should happen more, you know? I feel like it should happen more because I feel like I have sat on a lot of things. And I don't necessarily mean yelling. I take that back. But just being confident enough to be like, nah, you know, being okay with saying the wrong, because a lot of times I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it or whatever. And that has ended up having me turn into, you know, the silent treatment.
Right.
But that's not the person I want to be, you know.
Sure.
And I want to be able to have a healthy boundary there where it should be okay for me to voice what I have to say without it being an attack. Or attack on my character. Because it's just, it's not right. It's not right. It's just not right. Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, it's not right. That's my opinion.
Right.
Some, but it doesn't feel good. How about that?
Right. I feel like I have used the silent treatment in place of being the person who goes off. I have definitely been that person. Because I don't go off very often. I'll tell you about yourself real calm, cool, collected in a second. But when I get to the point where I'm angry, I'm ready to yell and scream, I might cuss you out real quick. That's when I'm like, you know what? Give me a moment. I need to like collect myself and I'm just not going to talk to you because that doesn't feel good to me to communicate to somebody in that way. Somebody specifically that I care about. But even just like in general, like I'm just not the type of person to be yelling and screaming at folks. That's not me.
Not gonna do it.
So I use the silent treatment in those ways when it's like, I don't know how else to communicate this to you except to like really go off. And I'm trying not to do that. So like, let me chill out. But you know, that's not always a good thing. Sometimes people need you to go off on them. I truly believe that, says the therapist. Sometimes people really, truly need that because they don't understand otherwise.
Yeah, I do believe that. I think for me in like a romantic relationship, it gets hard because I don't know. You know how you just don't want to see the same reflection of your past?
Yep, absolutely.
And so you're like, I don't want to come outside of myself. I should be able to just talk just like this in this tone and have, a dialogue without it being like a screaming match or without it being, oh, I need to cuss them out or I need to go off on them. Like I prefer it to be like this, but I think, it does get to that way sometimes. I have done it, but I don't feel like I've done it to the right. I don't want to say not to the right people, but I have not done it enough.
Mm-hmm.
I have sat on a lot of my anger or frustrations and just sat on them and just not just tucking them away and not dealing with my feelings in private.
Right.
And so, yeah, it doesn't feel good in a partnership or with someone you're with because you feel like you said about being safe. I don't even feel safe to even like be vulnerable in front of you and tell you how I'm really feeling and how this is affecting me anymore.
Okay, so this is taking me to a whole other topic that, could have an episode in and of itself, but we are both Black women. And this is making me think about this whole trope of like the angry Black woman and also the trope around the strong Black woman. And so I'm kind of wondering, because as I'm hearing you talk about that, it's making me think like how much of me silencing myself and choosing not to act out in anger is because of the fact that I don't want to be seen as an angry woman, specifically an angry Black woman. And how much of me also kind of keeping it together is because I don't want to be, because I've been taught or I have this like unrealistic idea of what it means to be strong, right? And I feel like even just hearing you say that, because you keep saying I don't want to get outside of myself. And I'm like, yeah, I've said the same thing, but for whatever reason, hearing you say it, I'm like, who's to say that being angry is outside of myself? Like I'm allowed to be angry. I'm a human with emotions. And sometimes people do shit that you deserve to be angry about. Like, why does that have to be me getting outside of myself? And so I don't know. That was just a whole sidebar situation that just happened in my head. But I really wonder like how much of silencing ourselves is about not wanting to be viewed in a certain kind of way by other people.
I think for me, that could be it. But a lot of times, if you've been conditioned, how do you know?
That's a great question. It's a great question.
How do you really know? Because if it's true conditioning, you might not ever know why you do the things you do or whatever, or what affects your reaction to certain things. Some things
especially stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Some things are right in your face. It's just like a dead giveaway. But if you've been conditioned and kind of, molded into this version of you, I think it's good to ask those questions, to have that dialogue, to figure out if that's, could that be a part of it or is it just fact that, like I said, you don't want to tap into your past or you just simply don't like conflict, like I would say for me, I'm pretty lighthearted.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, everybody's like, oh, you're so outgoing. You're so like, you could talk to anybody. You have so many different types of friends, types of people, and I feel like that is true because I try to keep it cool, keep it light. Like I don't need, yes, we can have these amazing conversations and we can debate and agree to disagree. We can do all of those things. But at the end of the day, I like to keep the people around me, my environment, like happy and lively. Like I just like it to be like just cool. Like I don't need the drama. And so when the drama is just sitting there and it's not being resolved, like I said, like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
And it makes me shut down more than anything because I'm like, okay, so this is what we're doing. Cool.
I no longer feel safe again.
Right. Cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing else on that.
Damn, we just paused. We just had a moment to ourselves, just like, It was one of those moments. You
Yeah.
just wow.
I think it's one of those things, one of those topics or situations that varies tremendously. And it is hard to know how to move and how to shift. Like many of us have done it, many of us will do it again, many of us have been victims of it. And there are so many reasons. And I think the biggest issue is like, how do you honor yourself while still honoring whatever feelings are present for that relationship in a way that feels okay for you? Because to me, it has to be both. I have to also honor myself. I'm not going to chase behind you. I'm just not. You need to be able to show up and say, you know what? I'm having a hard time and I'm going to take a minute. You know what I mean? Like, that's not fair. And so, how do you honor yourself while also honoring whatever feelings you have towards that relationship or in that relationship? And everybody gets to decide how they want to do that individually. But yeah, it becomes hard because then you're like, is this person intentionally trying to hurt me or are they just having a hard time communicating? Because if they're having a hard time communicating, like how much of that is on me? Like how much of that is my responsibility? The truth of the matter is it's really not your responsibility, but you show up in the relationship with some responsibility. What does that look like? And how do you honor yourself while doing that? Holding space for their challenges.
It's hard. It's really hard. It can be difficult because you always want to give the person the benefit of the doubt and you always want to give them grace because you care about them.
Absolutely.
You know? And so if this is truly something that they need to do, you're like, okay, like I understand, you know? And
yeah.
You're open to the idea, but you know, it's also like you said, like how do you, it does make you feel like, okay, well, this person, so are they doing this intention? It does feel like an intentional matter because it's personal. You know, a lot of people say, don't take things personally. You shouldn't take things personally. And I'm like, but if it's a part of my life, it's personal.
Right.
It's personal. It's already personal. So it's no way for me to just say, well, don't take it personally. I think your response when it comes to it is where the work lies, I guess, because, you know, you could take it personally and be like, well, fuck them then. And just be like, I'm done. Like, you know, I'm done. I don't want to do it. Or you can recognize what you have or see the challenges and say, okay, I'm willing. Here's where my boundary lies. I'm willing to wait a month or I'm willing to wait 3 months. I don't know, whatever that timeline is for you that you feel comfortable with, then that's your call to make.
Yeah.
But if it goes past that boundary that you set, then it's just like, it is what it is. Like you said, they can come back and, oh, well.
Right. And I think the point about not taking it personally is less about not feeling something about it, and feeling like it's about feeling hurt or whatever. But it's more about recognizing that a lot of the times people's behaviors are not about you. It is happening to you. They are doing it towards you, which makes it feel personal. But a lot of times it is about their inability to handle and manage whatever is going on with them internally. That don't make it right, right? You should definitely operate and move through that because that is your healing work for yourself. But the not taking it personally is working through whatever comes up for you that starts to make you feel like you're not good enough or you're not worthy or you're unlovable or even just that you did something wrong, because chances are you may not have, right? They just took it a certain kind of way. So I think that's the work. It's like, how do you heal from and move into a space where you can recognize that it's not about you. This is their stuff. Yeah. And that is hard. That is really freaking hard, especially in certain kinds of a relationship. But I think that's the work. It's being able to recognize that this person is not in a healthy place to be able to communicate with me in a way that feels good. And that's about them. That's not about me.
And that's that on that.
Period. All right. This next segment is called Roses. Marlena, who would you like to offer your rose to today?
All the single guys out there. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Get it together.
I'm only saying that because fucking what's that show? What they be giving out the roses? The Bachelor. Yeah, The Bachelor or whatever. First of all, I don't even watch that or whatever.
Me either.
I know some people, I have some friends that are like, they really love that show. And I'm just like, how? How are you watching this shit? Like, and I'm like, can't you see that these people are like low key kind of trashy though? Like, why are they hooking up with everybody? Everybody.
I've literally never seen an episode of it.
I've never seen an episode of it, but I've seen like parodies of it. Like parodies of it. There's a show that I can't remember the name. Burning Love. Yeah, I think it's called Burning Love. It's so funny. It's just basically them making fun of that whole like rose ceremony, all that stuff. Like it's so funny. But who am I giving my roses to this week? I'm gonna give it to New York City. I was just there. And I've been in New York a bunch of times, but I just love it, man. Like every time I go, I always think like, could I live here? It's just such a lively city. There's so many things you can do. I mean, it's pretty crazy. You can stay there probably your whole life and not even hit half of the things because there's so many, I saw like a wine and sip like bar that was real cute. I saw so many little like spots that I'm like, dang, I wish I had more time. I could go do that. Or, I was just looking at all these different things and walking through these different neighborhoods and seeing just like the distinctness of just like, oh, well, this, you can tell, okay, this is more rural. And if you walk over here, this is like, there's a lot of graffiti over here. There's a lot of, culture. There's just a lot of culture in New York. So, they always treat me good out there.
Reasonably.
New York, reasonably. But New Yorkers sometimes you're like, okay, that's a little
mad aggressive for no reason.
Mad aggressive. It is. But I have that. Sometimes I have that energy too. I know I can be a little aggressive. I don't want to say aggressive, but a little more
aggressive.
I would say maybe a little domineering sometimes. Maybe I could be a little, I don't know. I have that a little masculine energy. I know that it's there.
We all do. We're supposed to.
So I kind of just tap into that when I'm in New York. So I like it. And every time I go, I always think like, dang, I should extend my trip because there's so much stuff to do and and then I used to have really good friends. Well, they don't live there anymore, but I had a really good friend that lived in New York and just like being there with him and just seeing different places through people's eyes. And it's just been, it's always a good experience. So
shout out to New York.
NYC, concrete jungle where dreams are made. No.
Really? That's what we're doing?
No, we're not. Anyway. Katrina, who would you like to give your rose to this week?
I am giving my rose to Black women in corporate America who are fighting for Black mental health. I had a couple meetings this week with people. Okay, so before I got on the call for the meetings, they were virtual, video, whatever. I did not know that these were going to be Black women. I just didn't think about it, had no idea or whatever. And then I got on the call. And actually, let me rephrase that because that was completely an assumption and that's something I need to work on. Black people who are female presenting, okay? Because I got on the call and I see these beautiful brown skin female presenting folks, and we're having conversations about supporting mental health at these institutions that they work at. And I just felt so good. Like the conversation was really good. The way that I feel like I was able to show up in those conversations was different because there's just a different energy when you're talking to Black folks. And I felt like they were showing up differently. Obviously, I don't know these people any other kind of way, so I don't know how they talk to other people when they're at work, but I just have a feeling that we were dropping the code switching and being able to really show up as ourselves. And that felt really nice. And it just reminds me of how much I love what I do. And it just reminds me of how much I really just enjoy watching Black people do the thing. Like, especially when the thing that we are doing is supporting other Black folks and just making sure that we are healthy and well. So shout out to Black folks in corporate America that are out here fighting for Black mental health, in corporate America for your job, in education institutions for students, like all of those things. Y'all are amazing. Keep doing what y'all do. I mean, it made me really excited, and it felt really good this week to like log on and just see Black faces and have these conversations. So that's where my rose goes to today.
Shout out to the Black execs. We need more of you.
Yes.
Oh my
please.
goodness. I'm tired of
and not just in the DEI section, like not just in diversity and inclusion. Like we need them all over.
Yeah. I'm tired of seeing these stale boardrooms.
Lord, that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
A whole other conversation.
It really is. But I don't know. I feel like even us doing this podcast is helping, because the more that we talk about mental health, I mean, not that the podcast is all centered around that, but it is in a way, just speaking.
We're talking about all the things that impact our mental health.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like just all these small outlets, just to me, makes it even more, these companies will realize even more how much a need there really is for that. And will, hopefully broaden their horizons,
We hope,
but, or we just make our own shit and then
there's that.
But it's important to have all of it. Yes, to have our own shit, of course, but it's important. It's like we can't say that these big old corporations don't make major decisions within
absolutely
life,
Absolutely.
So yeah. We here.
We out here. We doing it.
We here. Pull up.
Well, that was another episode of Excess Baggage.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Excess Baggage Pod. That's Excess Baggage POD. Be sure to like, subscribe, and review on the podcast app and Spotify.
And remember to pack light and keep it tight.
For sure.